Okay, so nobody's getting the truth from the mainstream media, folks. It's well past time to open your eyes, your ears, and your mind. Do your own research because something isn't right here. And if you can't see that, you are not paying attention, folks.
It's the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order. A world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations.
So let's look at each one of these and see how we can get this down to zero. Probably one of these numbers is going to have to get pretty near to zero. Now that's back from high school algebra, but let's take a look. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
The important message that we need Australians to get vaccinated as quickly as possible. In line with that, I do encourage all Australians to please go and book your vaccinations as soon as you can if you haven't already done so.
Emma, get away!
When we are successful and resilient, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
Okay, we need to stand up against this tyranny, folks. Stop giving away your freedoms and liberties, because the more you give up, the more these people will take until you have absolutely nothing left. That's their agenda. Okay, good evening, people. Jan Murphy, hope everything's all right. Might not watch the show tonight. Yeah, hope everything's cool there. Okay, good evening once again, guys. Thursday night, tomorrow's Anzac Day. And to tell you the truth, I think that my granddad, who you all know, that was a rat at Tobruk, would be absolutely, with a hell of a lot of other people, rolling in his graves to see the state that we've let this country get into. And it is now time to fight. There is no time like the present. And we are going to have to fight and fight hard, guys, and we know that. But yeah, I hope everyone's going to partake in something to do with Anzac Day tomorrow, whether that's a dawn service or a march or a get up and say a prayer if you can't get to any of them things. But yeah, guys, I think we need to draw on the spirit of the Anzacs and actually get this job done, because them guys did get it done, even though, you know, they were under, well, now as we know, a total illusion as to what they were actually doing. But yeah, we can make amends for that. I'll just shut that off, guys. Righto. So we're mate, it's all happening, isn't it? There's punch-ups at Poland booths, etc., etc. It's all uni party. That's all we're seeing out there, guys. All right. And again, you know, there's the big thing on at Fairfield. There's one in Melbourne, Fairfield, Sydney on Saturday. I'm hoping to get up there. I don't know if I will be, because we got some huge seas coming through. And yeah, I just got to see what happens. But it should be a good event up there. And yeah, people get out and get into it. That's Saturday. So enjoy your Anzac Day tomorrow, and then see if you can get to these events. And it's all about no more uni party. So yeah, I just want to push that and promote it. Now, just a couple of things we'll rattle through, guys. And then we've got a great guest on tonight, and we'll get straight into it. But, you know, this is how stupid that we are out here, apparently. How can I tell if my child is too sick to go to school? Well, in my day, when I had my kids at home, I sort of knew whether they were too sick to go to school or not. I don't think I did to check with anyone to make sure that, you know, they were too sick or they weren't too sick. Maybe mum, you know. But anyway, this is where we're getting to, guys. You know, you need to be told what's going on. You need to be, yeah. The ABC accused of taking tax dollars under false pretenses. Well, really. Really, we've been saying this for how long? And they're just really promoting it hard. And I just want to say it again for any new viewers, don't go near these things. But the flu season coming sooner and hitting harder, the data shows. And you need to run out there and get your little jab and make sure that grandma's protected, guys. That's what their message is out there still at the moment. So I don't know how Caz is going in there, but tonight, guys, we've got Robin from Courage is the Cure. And we're going to bring Rob on. How are you, darling?
Good. How you doing, Guru? Nice to see you.
Yeah, you too. So you just, for the viewers who may not know you, and we get new viewers all the time, introduce yourself.
Thank you. So I'm from Courage is the Cure, founder of Courage is the Cure. What would we say? I'm a content creator, commentator, researcher. I'm one of the streamers with Cafe Locked Out Community. And I'm also one of the editors of the Light Australia newspaper. So, yeah, it all keeps me pretty busy.
Wow. Me and Caz were just saying how busy we are and how much we've got to do. And, you just wipe the floor with us, actually. Yeah, you're pretty active.
Look, there's never a dull day. Doesn't matter what you're doing, as long as you're, if you're in the business of defending free speech and, like I do, identifying the tools that the mainstream media use to deceive the public, whatever it is you're doing within the freedom movement, it certainly keeps you busy and on your toes, that's for sure.
Yeah. No, look, certainly. And as I just said in the intro then, Robin, we're at a place where we need to be really thinking about Anzac Day and, people need to be thinking about grabbing onto that spirit, you know what I mean, and actually starting to fight for this country because, as we know now, being well educated, that these wars were always bankers' wars. They weren't the wars of the family man like we were meant to think that they were. And, we really have a responsibility to stand up now because my granddad, he was at Raditcher and he come home and his brother went at 15 and come home. Right. But they would be rolling in their graves to see where we've let this country get to and where we are, So your viewpoint on Australia at the moment and what's your vantage point, Robin, from all the things you do? Where are we?
Well, just to touch on Anzac Day, I always think now of Wayne Claris. He's one of the boys that host WTF on Cafe Locked Out. And, we often talk about something he said, which was, he would like to be proud of Australia again. And, the way we do that is by living the life and be the example of the Australia that we want to see. And more importantly for our kids. So particularly now that, Anzac Day's tomorrow, Wayne's words are in my head. And, the nonsense you mentioned in the intro there, Guru, about the uni party, the nonsense that we're seeing with these reprobates. I mean, honestly, it's embarrassing. And times like this, we really need to remember what we should be focusing on within Australia. But look, the many things that I follow, I mean, mainstream media is one of them. I keep an eye on them in particular. I mean, during the COVID war, the program wouldn't have been so successful without the government and the establishment's megaphone, which is corporate media. So I keep an eye on what they're up to and what they present to people and how they present it in order to
have you noticed a shift? Robin, can I just ask, have you noticed a shift in them? Because I have noticed a bit of a shift with the mainstream media, and I'm finding it very interesting that, they're not as entrenched as they were. But you're right, they are acting like the second branch of government,
Oh, yeah. Look, I'm always very cynical when it comes to the corporate media. The interesting precarious position that corporate media is in at the moment is they are well and truly aware now how irrelevant they are.
Yeah.
With all the podcasts like Stop the Rot, I mean, people always reference people like Joe Rogan because of, the sheer millions of people that he reaches. But even citizen journalists, I mean, we can see again through this election cycle with citizen journalists getting out there and putting a camera in people's faces and asking the hard questions. We even saw the other night Sky News attempting to walk up to that lady, that teal lady whose husband stole a sign, and Sky Media wanted to ask about it, and people saying, oh, there's Sky Media sticking it to them. Well, I'm a little bit more cynical because they're trying to balance maintaining any kind of credibility that is left within corporate media, and also trying to expand and try the new hip things that all of the citizen journalists do, and the real journalists now, and experimenting with that. So I'm not 100% sure that they're trying to get the truth out to people. Let's remember who owns corporate media all around the world.
I think you're right. They're just trying to compete with us. They're trying to win some market share back.
They're insignificant, and they're trying to rebrand themselves. They're trying to create a new niche for themselves because the numbers are ridiculous. They're now being propped up by government funds. Nobody's watching them anymore. And they've got all these tactics.
Do you know what I found amazing though? It's not just that. Like, look at this. You're right as far as like what's going on. Like, this is destroying like this woman's home. That tent was her home. That was all she owned. She has she solves quietly. She's sitting there. She's got nowhere to go. She's sitting on a soggy blanket. Like, it's just unbelievable. That the councils have got this much power. And you've also got these headlines like 130,000 is a homeless. I don't think it's 130,000. I actually suspect it's 1 million.
Yeah.
And
well, they've only got the power because we let them have the power, Caz. So that's a fair statement, what you're saying there. But they've only got power because why? Because we give them power. When we all stand up,
but we are.
Go, holy shit.
This is the thing I'm getting to. This is what I wanted Robin's comment on, because this is actually a clip, even just from one of my Facebook friends. I don't know that he's actually done any social media, and he put this together.
Hi, I'm a teal independent. You know what? We're more than just climate change. We're all about climate action. And that is why, if you vote teal in the next election, we will ensure that those ugly wind turbines and solar power farms will not be built in our electorates. After all, who wants their views of Pittwater, Sydney Harbour and Brighton Beach disturbed by that ugly technology? We know it will save the future. Well, we think it does. Anyway, we're all from the city and we know best.
It's perfect though. It's perfect.
Yep. You know what that reminds me of? Back in the 90s with the late night comedy shows, the Late Show on the ABC and Sunday Comedy Company and all those types of shows, that they can't put those shows together anymore because everybody's self-censoring and PC and all this sort of bullshit. So to see a gentleman in his unironed teal shirt, very good, doing that's fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. Love it.
It is, yeah. And it's not just that as well. Like Madison's caught a hold of this, Madison King. And it's also the researchers. There's a lot of people that are standing up and they're all getting involved, which is just brilliant.
Come across this next clip. This is serious fraud. And I think Victoria has had enough of fraud.
Liberal candidate Zahid Safi has been presented as a successful small business owner in the local community, but there have been persistent questions around exactly what he does. So one afternoon last week, I decided to try and find out for myself. I travelled around the southeastern suburbs of Melbourne, knocking on the doors of the registered addresses for the many companies owned by Safi and his wife. When I knocked on the doors of some of these addresses, I found families who had no idea what I was talking about. One said they'd been receiving mail addressed to some of the companies, but they had no idea what it was about, so they'd simply just been putting the letters in the bin. Then when I went looking online, I found websites with fake reviews, broken links, and stock images that simply raised more questions than they answered. Safi didn't want to participate in an interview with us, but I sent a long list of detailed questions to the Liberal Party. And do you have confidence in the accuracy of the claims on the website? The Liberal Party did not answer my long list of detailed questions, but they did issue a generic statement. They stood by Zahid Safi. They just said he'd got behind on his admin work and he's contacted his accountant who's onto the job.
Wow.
Got behind in the admin work, like, yeah, the dog ate the homework, like it wasn't his fault. Gee whiz, give him a break, Caz. What are you slandering these people for, Caz?
Yeah,
no, just shows what we've got out there
hospitals.
being put in places, selected into places to get the job done. Guys, this is what's going on in your communities.
100%. It's a little bit even there. I'd note, she clearly works for The Age with her lanyard there. We know that journalists are supposed to report without bias, and I guess that's why she didn't give her opinion, and she could get away and say that's her journalistic integrity there. But anybody who's really reporting the truth would end that report off with, hello, people, we need to be demanding more and expecting competence from people who are running in public elections like that. But no, so I'm always a little bit sus about corporate media presenting.
And the problem is,
don't worry about it.
Yeah, the problem is these people are registered as actual entertainment. So they're not here to tell us the truth anyway. They're registered as entertainment. They are here to entertain you.
Yeah.
That's it. Tell live vision. Entertain you.
That's right. And your program.
Yeah.
It's well, it is interesting, but one of my favorite people at the moment is, and I hope he gets in, because it's this guy running for Manara, I think it is. Maranoa, Michael Offendale. Now, he's just so Aussie.
Our fight to free Tubi is, as far as I can tell, one of the largest campaigns in support of Western civilization in Australian history. Nobody has ever stood up to native title like this, ferociously, publicly and transparently. And we're not just fighting for a patch of dirt. We're fighting for the principles our Anzacs laid down their lives for. Not one of them stormed the beaches or faced the jungle hoping to hand this country away. They didn't fight for drag queen story hour. They didn't fight for sky-high power bills or to be ruled by UN treaties or to be divided by race. They fought so that our lives would be better, so our kids wouldn't have to fight the same battles. But now we are, and nothing about the direction of this country honours them. Not the Labor Party, not the Nationals, not the Liberals. They've sold us all out. Just look around the world. In England, veterans are arrested for praying while jihadis roam free. In Canada, they freeze your bank accounts for protesting lockdowns. And here, they're giving away land, rewriting history and calling it justice. The path is already laid out if we don't stop it. But here in Tubi, we are stopping it. Tomorrow, when you stop to respect the sacrifice of our Anzacs, just remember, when you fill out that ballot paper, you have an opportunity to honour their sacrifice, not with a poppy, but with a vote. A vote for a candidate who will stand up day in, day out to protect the country they gave everything for. This is our stand. Free Tubi, free Australia. Vote 1 Offendale for Maranoa, Libertarian Party, Queensland.
On you, mate.
Saying it like it is.
That's right.
It'd be great if you got into Parliament.
The problem is they don't let any of these people into Parliament except this controlled lot that they've got in there. And what's your view on our politicians, Robin, while we've got you here? We've got long-term career politicians in there, like rebranding themselves and coming back, it's just it's a bit monotonous. But, is there anyone out there that you've seen? Because actually there's no one out there that I've seen now, you know what I mean? I thought maybe Clive was going to do the right thing, but I'm very dubious about that as well. So, I don't see anybody out there that I could confidently go, yeah, maybe Rennick, but then I don't know. There's a few skeletons with Rennick too. You hear. So, what is there out there for the future of Australian politics? I mean, nothing.
Yeah, it's a little bit tough. I mean, anybody that spends any time watching my shows knows that most certainly the two major parties I affectionately refer to as two cheeks of the same arse. Neither of them, anybody within those parties are elected. In my humble opinion, they're selected. With the independents and the minor parties that we have running for the federal election, I would like to think that Rennick is in a very strong position, with his experience and prior to being a senator and also being a senator. I mean, he's the only parliamentarian in my opinion, that has really truly said to the government and all of the major parties and the minor parties, go stuff yourself. You can all ram it. And I'm going to continue telling the Australian public the truth, and I'm going to form my own party. He's the only one that's actually done that with no nonsense. And I'm yet to see any skeletons yet, Guru. I mean, everybody's got skeletons in their closet, don't get me wrong. But from the people we have to pick, or the parties we have to pick for 2025, I'm more confident with Rennick. Now, whether they actually
let me clarify something, Rob. I haven't got evidence on the skeletons at Collins. Someone put it in the show here, and I said, send me the proof. I haven't got it yet. Okay, so yeah.
Well, it is disturbing that when somebody asked him about the restoration of the Constitution, he just basically dismissed it and said something about, I couldn't give a rat's pajamas. But I can understand that he sees the problem that we're currently, as it was 73. How do you go back? How do you turn back time? We should have caught it then and said, no. So I can see from that perspective where he is coming from.
Yeah, I remember I co-hosted the Epic 24-Hour podcast with Michael from Cafe Lockdown, and our very first two guests were Malcolm Roberts and Nicola Charles from The White Rabbit. And because we had so many guests scheduled within the 24 hours, we were on quite a tight schedule. And so, of course, as always, we got to the 25-minute mark and Nicola started talking about Australia being a corporation, and this fantastic conversation just started between herself and Malcolm, and we had to move on to the next guest. I was like, oh, God, that would have been a great conversation, because Malcolm wasn't having any of that conversation.
Well, it is sneaky how they've done it, because it's actually a form. It's not really technically a corporation. It's structured like a corporation, but it's actually a Form 18K, which defined on the SEC in America as being a sovereign country. Okay, so that's how they've done it. They've been extremely sneaky about it.
And then, in 124 of the Tax Act or something, 1973 or whatever, I think it is. Where's Australia? What islands are in it? Cocos Island, Christmas Island, if I'm correct, and what's the other one out here? Norfolk, isn't it?
Norfolk, yeah.
So they're the only three islands, all right, and nothing else is in it, guys. So we're a strip of water, boundary around Australis, or whatever you'd like to call it, Terra Australis. Okay, but it's only a strip of water around that actually contains three islands, Look, it's all coming out now. That's the good thing. There's a lot of different things that they've done. But, where does this take us, Rob? We're exposing all this stuff, but, we are going well. We're winning the information war. But can you see down the road a bit? What do you think we're looking at here? What can you see?
I think we, particularly within the freedom movement, after 5 years for a lot of people, from the beginning of the COVID war, people are tired and weary. We still persist. We are relentless. We don't give up. But I think what we're really seeing is an education of our youth, because let's not forget that there's a lot of grandmas, a lot of grandpas, a lot of aunties and uncles and mums and dads that are all rearing and raising and help to raise children at the moment. And, probably for the next 5 years, it's going to be a long, hard slog for all of us, but we will see those young children turn into young adults before we know it. And there'll be a real force for these globalists to have to deal with, because it just won't be us old fogies, and all these people that are here at the moment persisting, why don't you get over it, So I'm really positive. It's difficult, but those young kids that are with Nana and Grandpa and everybody right now, they are our future, and that's hugely positive, I think.
It's also, I think, the reason why they want to ban TikTok, because I know that from what I've seen, kids are waking up because TikTok's educating them, because you can get a massive amount of information into a 3-minute video. So people are, and that's how they're learning. They're just,
That's
they are, and they're waking up. We know that, and that's the whole TikTok thing. They need to get hold of the next generation. If they lose that generation coming through, they are gone. We know they're gone already, but that speeds the process. You know what I mean? And they're panicking. They're panicking in a lot of areas. But that's good. That's well done to us people. I
mean, you can see. Just a couple of days ago, I think it was 2 days ago, there was a news report by the ABC, and kind of a sidestep, but connected as well, talking about children. The ABC brandishing the councils and the people and the councillors who have been able to pass similar motions to Port Hedland as encouraging vaccine hesitancy. Well, you know what that means? When the establishment enlists their megaphone, their pathetic attack dogs as corporate media to counter a truly grassroots movement that has spread across Australia since October last year from Port Hedland, we know they're worried, and we're doing something right. And we're doing something right, and our children are going to be learning about it as well. And that's what they're terrified about. And also AI. That's why they want to control those things as well, because we're teaching it, and they don't want our kids to learn the truth. So it's all connected to the future generations. They've got to stifle the truth. They've got to continue to tighten that noose of censorship so that our kids don't learn the truth in the future, But they can't stop it. They can't stop it.
I think you're right.
There's a good comment right there. I was at the hairdresser today, and everyone is waking up. Now, we've got another hairdresser in the chat here. I know that for a fact, on the North Shore of Sydney. We're just wondering what the goss is around places like that, because that's where things happen, isn't it? You know what I mean? That's where someone's light bulb moment, it's not from us people preaching at them. It's from the effect of what we've done on the community, that people are now waking, as in the Forest of the Fallens, and this that we're doing, and the witness statements, and we've got cease and desist going out everywhere. We put Terry White on notice everywhere, you know what I mean? So we're actually doing a lot of things that is actually reverbing out, you know what I mean? And it's like you say, the one person you let know, maybe 1,000 people. You don't know. You don't know the effect of the roll-on. So,
Well, just a quick story, incorporating Michael Grey Griffith Cafe Locked Out and also Dr. William Bay. I can see people chatting about him in the comments. Michael's given me permission to talk about this. When he was taken to hospital for his heart attack, I think it was the first hospital, the staff asked him, "Do you have a doctor?" And so Michael said, "Yes, his name's Dr. William Bay." And apparently the hospital staff, typed it in, looked it up, and then they all looked around, and then Michael heard them say, "Oh, it's him." And so apparently on the computer it said that William was suspended. Well, we all know that he's won his case against ARPA. He's no longer suspended and is working as a doctor. So it's still written as that, apparently. But, it just goes to show you, because the staff in the hospital know his name. And just that story, maybe they don't know that he's won his case against ARPA. If they read the Light newspaper, they'd know he'd won his case against ARPA. But, these wonderful, courageous, relentless people like Dr. William Bay, who stand up to these criminal organisations such as ARPA and do win their cases, that goes to serve, will be a testament in the future for everybody to know about these criminal organisations and further spreading the truth, because Dr. William Bay was victorious, so it. I take my hat off to anybody who persists like Dr. William Bay.
I agree. We support everyone who's basically fighting. Look, it's past. We need to bring on the flyers, because we've got a lot of people. A lot of our people are doing stuff all around the country this weekend, so we need to just let people know what they're up to. It's approximately 2 minutes, 2:50, nearly 3 minutes long. So if you want to grab a coffee, do that.
And the Mondays at Maggie's crew is calling for tools down. It's time to stand together. A corrupt and tyrannical government is crushing industries, stripping freedoms and silencing voices. This affects every worker and every business. New South Wales under a corrupt government. Enough is enough. We won't stay silent and we demand action. So join us every Monday at the Governor's House in Sydney at 11 a.m. And Rocco is hosting an Election Day barbecue, 12 noon, Saturday the 3rd of May 2025 at Ewan Park Barbecue area. And there will be a zero immigration protest. They will gather at 11 a.m. on April the 26th at Sydney Town Hall. And a stand in the park, Wagga Wagga. We'll have an end-of-month catch-up this Saturday, 27th of April, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the Wagga Beach. And this weekend is a big weekend for the No More Uni Party rallies Australia-wide, Saturday the 26th of April. Adelaide will kick off at 10 a.m. at Fremont Park. Sydney will kick off also at 10 a.m, marching from Fairfield Station to Ware Street. And Melbourne will have a host of guest speakers at 12 p.m. at Flagstaff Gardens. And in Victoria, we have the following events. In Melbourne, gather at the Governor's every Saturday to end the tyranny. 10 a.m. every Saturday at the Governor Gates. And there will be a Save Lotus Creek Alliance rally, Stop the Destruction of Connors Range, on Saturday the 26th of April at 10:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. And join the Justice of the People in Melbourne every Sunday at 4:30 p.m. for a remembrance at the Shrine of Remembrance, lest we forget. Women's Voices Australia presents Women Will Speak at Parliament House in Melbourne on Saturday, April 26th at 12 noon. And there will be a Forest of the Fallen at Mornington at the bottom end of the main street on Sunday, the 27th of April. The setup is from 10 a.m. In Canberra, every day for over 1,000 days, the freedom fighters have been protesting at the Governor-General's. To join in, meet at the National Rock Garden at 10 a.m. to expose the 28, or tune in on YouTube at #Expose28. And check out Dan Tilda's new t-shirt designs featuring the QR code, the event number of the Witness Statement documentary. A daily prayer space is held on X at 3 p.m. So whatever you're facing, come along and we can lift you up in prayer. Every day, 3 p.m. on X. Melissa 146233923.
So having a conversation too, guys, with Forest of the Fallen. We were going to hit the election booze and around the booze, the big ones, with the Forest of the Fallens on election day. So maybe we can get together in our different areas and split up what we've got so we can get more booze done. Instead of taking 400 to 1, we can hit 4 booze with 100. Okay, we're still going to have the conversation, still hand out the pamphlets, but we can make the impact bigger. Okay, so we want to try and do that for election day with our Forest of the Fallens, guys. Thank you.
Very good. One of the things that I didn't know until this story crossed my path today is, and he makes a really good point, is about the banking monopoly and profiteering in Australia.
Banks in Australia are in the top 8 most profitable banks in the world. I mean, how do you get 26 or 27 million people to create 4 banks that are in the top 8 in the whole planet? That just doesn't sit well with me in terms of just simple logic.
Monopoly, yeah.
Well, it's beyond that. It's the fact that we're allowed to vary the rates here in Australia. Most countries are fixed. So they can crank it up when they want. They can crank it down when they want more customers.
That's an amazing point. Like people talk about the US, but in Australia, our debt to wages is like 200%.
Yeah.
In the US, it's 97%. And the reason that our property debt to wages is like 200% is because of the variable rate. Whereas in the US, they've got the fixed rate and they're able to lock in rates when they're lower over 30 years.
Yeah.
But as you've seen, for everyone in Australia who's had a mortgage in the last two years, so it's their monthly repayments have doubled in price.
Well,
I didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't know that was the case. So, I thought that all of them had variable. But yeah, it's interesting.
Well, the banks are just cartels. That's all they are. Go, Robin.
Yes, we know that.
Yeah, well, they take advantage of the fact that, we have a gambling spirit in Australia, and also that we're more often than not the petri dish for things that they like to trial.
Yeah.
Wherever you look, in whatever
New
field
World Order recipes, just seeing how we sample them, Yeah.
Yep. Let's see if the Aussies are dumb enough to, have a gamble, pick a variable, all these sorts of things. I mean, what can we take away from that? That our best interests aren't at the heart of banks, government, all of these people,
Yes,
No, I know.
As someone just put in there, designed it well, Dave. They have designed it, Frank, very, very well, and they've pulled it off. But guess what? Now they're in trouble. All right, because we know that they know that they know that we know, and we know that they know. So they're in trouble. That's it.
They are. Now I think that could be a bit of a surprise. Like if it's an honest election, we'll talk about. I'll play this, and we can have a discussion about it.
Can we emphasise "if" in capital letters?
Sentiment you're picking up there. As people go into, have they made up their mind? Are they taking the how to vote cards? What's going on? Look, they're taking the how to vote card. I can see that's huge. Obviously, people who voted for me will continue to vote for me. But the surprising thing that I think we're picking up is that there's quite a lot of people are voting Liberal. So that's a surprising thing, not just in Werriwa, in McMahon as well. So, and people are sharing that they put, like, once they vote, they're sharing out that they're putting Labor last 7. And I was surprised. There's somebody who was from the Arabic and Muslim community shared that on their obviously messenger chat and shared that around. That was a surprise for me.
Yes, because you nationalised a whole heap of them, gave them citizenship, and then you had them enrolled to vote. So you're very surprised that they voted for somebody else.
The system's working well, just how they designed it.
The thing is, though, that it's really interesting that I've noticed a lot of people sharing their votes around online. And the thing about it I find really interesting about that is that AI is very good at being able to analyse stuff these days. And I'm just wondering, are we able to actually able to utilise AI and actually see who's voted for what, where?
Probably.
Yeah.
I think interestingly as well, I'm always interested in people's behaviour, because let's not forget that we've got all these wanky think tanks that sit around for decades looking at experiments on human behaviour and how they can use that to get the result that they want.
Don't forget obesity in dogs. just while you're there, you're like, yeah, obesity in dogs. That's the latest one that they're backing billions into. Yeah.
You know, before the COVID war, when you're talking about voting, you never asked anybody who they voted for. It was a private, personal question, just like when was your last pap smear? You know, you didn't go around asking people their papers about their vaccination status, right? It was your personal
Well, my
business.
wife did do a nurse one day because the nurse wanted to know a vaccination status. So Mel asked her if she could see her latest pap smear. Well, that didn't go down too well, I can assure you.
we should be friends. But now there's this complete lack of privacy, and I think these disgusting, awful creatures that don't have the testicular fortitude to show their faces, they've banked on the fact that we've discarded a certain level of privacy in our lives. And when people are putting on social media who they voted for, naturally, this groupthink mentality starts to happen, and these two disgusting wings, or the two cheeks of the same ass, will rely on that, you know, for more votes to influence people to vote a particular way. So I don't for a second think that, you know, people's just, oh, look, someone's putting it on their page. No, I think they've thought about it, they're relying on it, and they want people to have that hive mind, the group think, Liberal, Labor. You know, notice there's no mention of any other party there.
No,
There wasn't in that, but I have seen people who have put Libertarians or People First Party and first, and then they've got the, you know, the whole list. And so I have actually seen that, and I'm finding that really interesting, the way everybody else is interacting with them with regards to that, because a lot of our people are putting Liberal, Labor, Greens and Teals last.
Yep. Yeah, I think
the problem was who do you put first? That was our big problem. Yeah, we knew who to put last, we just don't know who to put first.
Well, you know, then that brings on that whole conversation about all of the parties uniting into one party. I mean, clearly, I don't have an opinion about that, and nor would it matter at this stage anyway. But yeah, the lengths that these disgusting people who are in power go to influence the general public who are unaware of their disgusting tactics doesn't surprise me.
Well, look, we're seeing candidates' husbands out there like stealing, you know, like
how embarrassing.
Like how embarrassing. You're not wrong, and then got fronted up on it. You know what I mean? Like in the media, it's just like unreal.
And also that rabbit lady, that old lady that ran out rapidly and hit Matt Tree. Hey, I've actually got that here.
Politicians to address.
She's that's at a Teal event, you know, like, you know, they're just so tunnel vision, they can't see anybody else's, you know, perspective or anything else. And he was asking the question about the immigration. It was actually at an immigration rally too, an immigration information evening. So, but the thing is, like, I mean, I've never known a time when, like, an old granny getting up out of their seat and hitting you. Yeah, they would have done it. They would have done it with their walking stick or their handbag and hit you over the head for being impolite, but not because you're basically asking a question.
Well, if you watch, I watched that. I'm surprised it's still up there, actually. But there's a lady in there, maybe a lady, screaming. You know, the brain rot libtards who just go up to people and scream in their faces because they can't deal with an opposing opinion. Throughout that video, there's someone screaming in there, thinking that that's going to get the gentleman to leave. It's
is that this one?
It's nuts.
I think I've got that well as well.
Yeah, this one. Yeah.
We just hear about immigration and crime. I want to know when that will address the correlation between immigration and crime. When will the politician address it? We have an unprecedented rise in crime, direct correlation with immigration. You are putting our people at risk. No one is addressing this. This is not a forum for that. This is something these people need to answer because the people are being put at risk. You are putting the citizens of this country at risk for immigration when there's a direct correlation between immigration costs. When will you address it? When will you address it? Are you all too scared to address it? You who say that you don't have any problem with political donations, yeah? You are asked correctly whether it's political donations. How dare you come in here doing this? How dare they do this country? We love this country and we want these people up to account because we are governed by parasites. We are governed by people who have no care for the people of this country, and you all know it. And where's the right forum to address the biggest issue of our time? The biggest issue of our time is the safety of the citizens, yes? What's your name? The biggest issue of our time.
Do you know what I just noticed there? They're all old.
Yeah.
Nanas and grandpas. Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, I'll tell you. Anyway, he's dead right. You know, there is a definite correlation. It's a correlation by design, and their plan is working perfectly at the moment. So, you know,
Well, and introducing the hate speech laws and all the rest of it, people getting used to self-censoring, you know, that guy, you know, automatically the general public is what I refer to people who aren't awake as, you know, they'll all automatically just go, oh, look at that racist, you know, look at that, you know, Nazi, look at that, you know, neo-Nazi, you know, and they just throw out all the pejoratives and all the labels because, you know, how dare somebody connect those two? That can't be right because the telly's telling me that, you know, it's all inclusive and everything's fine. You know, he's just a racist.
I know. It's insane. Look, all right, well, Robin, thank you for coming on. Have you got any final words? Because we've got Jag Talks Anzac Tribute taking us out. So if you could say some final words, and Dave, if you could wrap up and close the show, that'd be great.
Yeah, look, thanks for having me, Guru and Caz. Really enjoyed joining you on here. The top of mind for me is Michael Gray Griffith. Prayers and well wishes for his speedy recovery and getting out of hospital. Beautiful Kelly over there taking good care of him as well. And I thank you very much for having me. And I'll see everybody that's in the comments that's usually with me tomorrow. But thanks for having me, guys. It was great.
Cool. And I spoke to Michael today, actually. He gave me a call. We were having a chat, and he sent me his Substack over. Go and have a read of that, guys, if you haven't read it yet. So, quite good.
That's great.
But, look, we're all going to look after each other, Rob, and, all the prayers do go out for anyone who's in trouble at the moment with, you know, what this evil entity is actually doing to us, you know, us people of the world at this present time. You know, we're all up against it. We're all in it together, guys. And, look, tomorrow night, Anzac Day tomorrow, you know, go be proud of being Australian, okay? Put your slouch hat on. Go and think about your ancestors and what they would be thinking about the job that you're doing, okay, at this present time, about respecting what they went and done for our country under false premises. Well, you haven't got false premises now. You've got factual information on what has gone on. Okay, so tomorrow night we're going to be with Wade on the Billboard Battalion's channels, guys. We will share out to our channels, but I don't think it's going to be on Rumble or Twitter or something. But it'll be going out. It'll be going out to all the Facebook. We'll reshare on that. But we're going to go over, me and Caz, with Wade. And Wade wants to have a chat to us about the election and that. So that'll be tomorrow night's show. Have a great Anzac Day. Thanks again, Robin, for coming on. Give Nick a big cuddle when you see him. And, take care, people. Let's go and enjoy your Anzac weekend. But remember, all right, the spirit and what it's all about, guys. We are Australian, we are Anzacs, and we need to reclaim what's ours. Good night.
I was just a lad with dreams in my head. From the outback to the city, we all left our bed. They called us Anzacs, a legend to be. But We were just men with a world to see. We were ordinary men answering the call. From the fields to the trenches, some gave all, fighting for freedom under the Southern Cross. Some of us never made it back. Some were forever lost. There were cattlemen, bankers, and builders too. Side by side we had a job to do. Not for glory, and not for the fame, but for freedom and the exact name. In the name of freedom, we went out to fight. Underneath the sky, in the dead of night. But the game was deadly, the stakes were high. We never wavered, we watched our brothers die. We were ordinary men answering the call. From the fields to the trenches, some gave all, fighting for freedom under the Southern Cross. Some of us never made it back. Some were forever lost. I saw the fields where heroes fell, heard the cries, the toll of the bell. Wounded and crippled were sent back home. But some of us in those fields, as ghosts they roam. The legend of Anzac, it's born in us all. It's the spirit of Australia to answer the call. So when you think of us, remember this too. The high cost of freedom was the price we knew. We were ordinary men answering the call. From the fields to the trenches, some gave all, fighting for freedom under the Southern Cross. Some of us never made it back. Some were forever lost. And now I'm on with stories to tell of the lads who fought and those who fell. In the shadow of war, we stood brave and tall.